It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in greater West Bloomfield. Top story right here at the top of our show, one of the most important issues to the people of Keego Harbor was addressed last night at their city council meeting, the fate and developments pertaining to Roosevelt. Our own Tyler Kieft has more.
Yes, Jake, the Roosevelt Elementary School, which has stand tall on Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor for over 100 years, of primary concern to the citizens of Keego Harbor in recent years, especially since the decision last year for the school district to move forward with demolition of the property. Ever since, pleas have been made by citizens of Keego Harbor, concerned citizens, to the city council to take whatever action may be necessary or possible against the school district to either change the decision or at least to make an impact, particularly from an environmental standpoint, on the future of that demolition. The city hired an attorney, Ann McLaughlin, in 2024 to review measures being taken by the school district in their demolition process to assure safety and explore any steps that the city may be able to take. Here is a brief statement from McLaughlin from their January city council meeting regarding her findings over the last roughly 1 year as she's been looking into the city's potential for action in this case.
The city has no regulatory authority directly related to the property, which would include anything related to construction, which also includes demolition. Now, the city does, of course, have an interest if there is anything that happens on the property that affects properties outside the property, adjacent properties, or, of course, the public health and safety. The school district has agreed to have an environmental hygienist on site and would provide daily readings and testing and provide that information to the city so that the city can be assured that the public health is being protected as that project goes on.
Per information provided in that city council meeting, many permits have been provided to the school district's contractors for the abatement of asbestos in the building and the beginning of the demolition process by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, otherwise known as EGLE. So after a thorough review of the attorney's findings, City Mayor John Fletcher made it clear the city has no further jurisdiction over the school property at Roosevelt Elementary School, being that it is deeded to the West Bloomfield School District. Any decisions going forward regarding the demolition of the building are to be made by the school district. That being said, he also made it clear to the city that the city council, his office, are in constant contact with the West Bloomfield School District regarding safety measures and reviews.
We can't change the determination of the school board. We cannot. There is we have as much say-so on what happens to that school as we do in what goes on the Dairy Queen's Blizzard of the Month. We have zero, and we do now have a seat at the table with them moving forward. And I know this wasn't what you wanted to hear, but at that time when we made that commitment, we said we are going to guarantee everyone's safety. And that's why we went to outside counsel, an outside environmental engineering company. We met with the school board. We have a firm commitment that they are going to have a hygienist doing air quality samples on a daily basis. And if there's any problems or elevated levels, the demolition will be shut down immediately. We are going to discuss their precautions. So they have opened the door, with just diplomatic relations on this. And, that's still our commitment is we're going to do everything within our power to make sure everything is done properly.
City Mayor John Fletcher noted that the environmental reviews, as you heard there, will primarily focus around air quality in the vicinity of Roosevelt as the demolition process moves forward. They'll also be focusing on the potential for harmful runoff in the area. Hopefully, in that case, the reviews will all be showing no harmful runoff. And if that is the case, he did mention the school district and the city will be working together to ensure that if there is any instance of that, that demolition will halt at that moment to make adjustments so as to not harm the public in the surrounding area or throughout the city of Keego Harbor. In addition, the public was provided an ability to ask questions to the mayor regarding his discussions with the school district as well as the attorney's findings in this case, which took up nearly 45 minutes of the January City Council meeting on this issue alone. While emotions did run high, Mayor Fletcher assured that the city is going to remain in contact with the school district and has taken every step in their power to assure a safe transition without overstepping the legal boundaries that the city has in place.
I live 500 feet from the school. There's a lady who lives 80 feet from the school. You live 500 feet from the school. You know, we all live right near this school, so we're all concerned. And like I say, nothing we do here tonight is going to change this. You know, it's very important to me, too. I've told you all, my grandchildren are in this city. All of my children are in this city, have bought homes in this city. And hell, there's not a person in this room that is more connected to Roosevelt School than the Fletcher family. My family's lived here since 1933. And my grandchildren live here, and I take this very seriously. I get stirred over this. I don't like it either. But I say, how can we make sure this is done safely within my parameters?
Everybody in all circles of this issue concerned for the public safety and the future of what will happen at the Roosevelt School property on Cass Lake Road, right in the heart of the city of Keego Harbor. I encourage you to look through the entirety of that city council meeting from January in Keego Harbor. It is available as we speak in its entirety on demand on civiccentertv.com. You'll get a full review of Attorney Ann McLaughlin's findings, the discussions from the city's Mayor John Fletcher and the West Bloomfield School District, and what action can and may be taken in the future by the city as this demolition process goes forward. A very heartfelt plea from the city and a very heartfelt plea from the people of the city to keep this issue close to heart, as it really is quite literally close to home in the heart of the lakes. Jakes.
Thank you, Tyler, for all of that information. Great to have these updates pertaining to Roosevelt, and good to see that the people of Keego Harbor are staying informed on everything. This weekend, some very exciting things for sports fans, especially fans of the Detroit Lions, as their playoff run is going to be continuing on Saturday night against the Washington Commanders, with the winner of that game taking on either the LA Rams or the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. The Super Bowl dream is very much alive and well, and everyone in this community is very excited for this team, because fans have been waiting their entire lives for the Lions just to make a Super Bowl, let alone win it. And for some fans, that could mean 50, 60, 70 years, maybe even longer. And that's yesterday, some of the Detroit Lions' oldest fans got the chance to celebrate their recent success over at the Fleischman residence in West Bloomfield, complete with appearances from former Lions players and even some doppelgangers of a very familiar coach. I had the great honor to attend this event and to talk to some of the very excited Lions fans to hear what this playoff run really means to them.
Well, it's amazing because usually someone that age is kind of quiet, but when the team comes out, they go crazy. After all the years, I mean, some of these ladies for 50 years, they've known the people and they just love it. I just moved in from Ohio, and the Browns and everything we thought were great until I moved here. And I'll tell you, this is a different football team. It's just amazing the difference from Ohio to here, the team.
I have seen such camaraderie and such intuitiveness from the coaches, the assistant coaches, and anybody involved in getting the team together. And we're going to win because we have such a cohesive, we're just there for each other. We had all these injuries, and we still did it. So I see us going all the way. Dan will do it.
Is this unlike anything you've seen from the Lions community so far?
Yes, yes. I think this has just been amazing. I think the things that we do here at Fleischman and Muir and this whole campus are so involving, and they just make us as seniors know that we're important too. And I'm 82 years old, and I'm proud of it. And I just love the city. I love everything about Detroit, and we are a sports city, and we are going to win.
What is it like to see this atmosphere here in West Bloomfield right now for the Lions?
I'll tell you, I've been a fan for 40 years of my life of the Detroit Lions, and when I came here today, I didn't expect to see such a high energy level of people that have been following this team. Like there's a gentleman, Steve, he's going to be 100 here in a couple months, telling us stories about going and parking in front of Brick Stadium. So, and at the time, Brick Stadium probably had cars and horses parked out front. So it's really cool to see fans that have wanted this so long.
So as a former player, what is it like to be seeing this sort of enthusiasm right here in West Bloomfield and all across Michigan?
I tell you, this is phenomenal. Just to see the synergy, the energy of the people. I remember like yesterday when we were on 16, when everybody was throwing apples and oranges at us. But so just to see the love, winning brings the community together, and I love it because I see a lot of similarities in Dan Campbell and Wayne Fonts, who was my coach. So I love this. I love this energy.
Everybody's put their heart and soul. You don't follow a team 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years without investing your emotions and investing your ups and downs, your highs and lows. Superstitions come. The players do it all the time. I know players that do it, but everybody feels they've invested so much, and we're really excited to possibly see all our investment pay off. And there's no better place here in West Bloomfield with the seniors here who have put in so much into their Lions retirement plan that they're going to see it pay off this year.
Jared Goff! Jared Goff! That is perfect. That's the excitement you love to see from all of these fans. And it was so great to be able to be there to meet these Lions fans firsthand, because Lions fans are some of the most patient and devoted fans you will find, not just pertaining to football, but with sports fandom in general. And it was great to see their emotions and great to see their enthusiasm and to hopefully see this team finally go all the way. So great times to be had there at the Fleischman residence. This weekend, we are going to be spreading the message of Dr. King's legacy, as the United We Walk event is going to be taking place on Sunday. The event was founded in 1995 to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, emphasizing diversity, unity, and the value of every individual. And we have one of the big speakers at this event right now joining us on the Splash Live, founder of the B Team and speaker and leadership consultant, Dr. Roy Bishop, joining us right now on the Splash. Dr. Bishop, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Really, really good. Glad to be having you with us and glad to be getting into this conversation, because this is a very big event that's going to be taking place right here in West Bloomfield. And what does participating in United We Walk mean to you personally, and how does it reflect your values?
Great question. I mean, it means the world to me I'm honored to be asked to be a keynote speaker at the event, because it really does build community. And so when we talk about my values, my morals, my beliefs, it really does take everyone. And unity starts with you. Each and every one of us, we have a job, and that's to be a leader. And we have to lead ourselves in a way that we can model for others what it means to create a world where everyone, and I mean everyone, can have their needs met.
That's absolutely right. And I love what you just said. Unity starts with you. That's something very important everyone should take into mind. And the theme for this year's event is building bridges of unity. Talk about what that message means to you, and how do you think this event is going to help achieve this goal?
Absolutely. When we talk about unity, building bridges, with me working in the school system, it's really bigger than the school system. It's about our entire community coming together, having the same vocabulary, and really not only just reflecting on the legacy that Dr. King has left for us or the work he's done, but also taking action. And I think sometimes we think those actionable steps have to be really large in nature. They can be very small as long as we are doing and continue to do 1% better every day to make the world a better place.
That's right. Every little bit helps to achieve these long goals. They don't just happen immediately. It takes a lot of work, but every little bit helps. And you're going to be working with this event, and you're going to be working alongside a lot of the younger members of the community who are also going to be helping to promote Dr. King's message of unity and diversity here in West Bloomfield. What does that mean to be working with this next generation of free thinkers and advocates?
That means the world to me. When you think about our youth, they really are our future. And what we're doing now is really building that bridge for them to be able to take over. And I've seen so many great things from our youth as far as them contesting norms that are there that should no longer be there, them challenging traditions that we have to think about differently, and having this innovative mindset where, like, how can we do this differently, even though we've done it before in the past this way? What could the future look like for us? So for us to continue to not only be innovative, but to make the right amount of progress, we need to make sure that we are not only listening to our students, but creating opportunities for them to be able to share their voice and for them to really take part in the work. And that's one thing that I'm excited about being a part of this event, is that the youth who are actually co-chairing this work are actually doing the work. They are there, their voice is being represented, and they're helping create the future that they want to see.
That's absolutely right. For those just joining us right now on The Splash, we have Dr. Roy Bishop, the founder of the B Team and a speaker and leadership consultant, joining us right now on The Splash to talk about his role as a guest speaker for this weekend's United We Walk event. And Dr. Bishop, you just spoke about this a little bit, but how do you think students and younger generations can continue to help carry on Dr. King's legacy right now in today's world?
That's a great question. I think continuing to have a voice, I think continuing to stand up for what is right. For me, at least for me, in my leadership journey, when I see some of the youth and what they're doing and how they are really fearless, that helps me sometimes get out of my own way to create those opportunities to continue to advance Dr. King's mission and vision. So for our youth, the message continues to be, continue to be you, show up every day, continue to do the right thing, and continue to inspire even some of the adults who may not be ready for the progress that needs to be made, but who can continuously be pushed in that direction so that we're continuing to be 1% better every day.
That's right, and that's great words to think of as we work towards this event. And there's a lot of great things to take away from this. One of the big messages that we're emphasizing with this event is be a leader, be a learner, be kind. How do you see these values aligning with the event's goals?
Absolutely. Great question. So be a leader, be a learner, be kind. For me, that's my personal mantra. And I've always followed that. And when I talk about, part of my speech is unity starts with you. Because when we talk about being a leader, sometimes we think about being a leader as leading so many other people, but we really have to lead ourselves well. And that's why I started the B Team. Is because it's an opportunity for us as leaders to work together to make sure that we, as leaders, are doing everything we can to make sure that we are not only modeling, but we are supporting future leaders in the world. So when we think about being a leader, being a learner, being kind, being a leader is simply standing up for what's right. And it can happen in multiple ways. We have to be activists, and we have to be people who focus on making the world better. When we talk about being a learner, we have a lot to learn. We have to learn from our failures, learn from our successes, so that we don't repeat some of the same things that's holding back the progress that needs to be made. And then we talk about being kind. Being kind, I know we think is very intuitive, but we have to be kind not only to ourselves and to others. I think a lot of the situational things that we have throughout the world can just really be stricken by being kinder to ourselves and to others as leaders and learners.
Those are great words to take into consideration. Dr. Bishop, I want to thank you so much for your time. One more quick question before we let you go. How do you think an event like this is going to help things for the future in West Bloomfield with future events like this one?
Absolutely. I think when we think about futuristic things, we think about the community. And I know for a fact that Ms. James spoke about this when she was on your show recently. When we think about the community, it really takes a community. This can't be one person's initiative or one group. We as a community have to come together, and we have to find a way to make sure the needs of all individuals are met. When we think about progress, we think about becoming better and challenging those systematic things and thinking about what is it that our youth needs that we potentially maybe did not have when we were growing up, and how do we get them access to that? And that's really our goal, is to build that community, continue to challenge those systems, and think about ways of how we can come together to share all of our different experiences to make the world a better place.
That's absolutely right, and those are great goals to live by. Dr. Bishop, founder of the B Team, we thank you so much for your time here on The Splash today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, and go Lions.
Absolutely, go Lions. And great things to look forward to with the United We Walk event that's going to be taking place this Sunday, January 19th. But great things to look forward to. Young minds are always learning, and at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, kids have a new way to do just that. Civic Center TV's Kevin McIntosh takes us inside the children's area to highlight on a hands-on feature that's capturing imaginations.
As technology and play combine to spark young imaginations, the West Bloomfield Township Public Library has introduced a new interactive play table in their youth services area. It's an engaging way for kids to learn while having fun. Today, we take a closer look at that table to see how it's making a difference for families in our community.
I like it's another activity to do at the library, and we did the matching game, which seemed to be the most fun, right? You matched?
Yeah.
It gives us another option. Although there's already so many options, this is just another great option to have for us.
The interactive play table offers children a chance to learn through play with activities designed to develop critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. We asked how the interactive play table contributes to the library's ongoing commitment to creating innovative spaces for families to connect and grow.
The table has, I think, 12 different options of different games. We've got some math, some science, some geography, and it has things from toddlers up until about age 12, so a wide range.
For families in West Bloomfield, the interactive play table has quickly become a favorite feature of the library's youth services area. By combining fun and learning, it creates an enriching experience that keeps kids engaged and curious.
So it does both of those very well. There's some educational games, and it is very entertaining. The kids will want to come back and play with it more and more.
The West Bloomfield Township Public Library continues to innovate and inspire, offering new ways for children to learn and explore. Whether you're coming in for a book or a fun activity, the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's interactive play table is just one more reason to pay a visit. From the West Bloomfield Township Public Library Youth Services area, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
Every time I see one of these new toys that the kids are playing with these days, all I'm thinking is that I wish I had something like that when I was their age. And I don't know if that makes me just feel old or just feel really jealous. But thank you to Kevin McIntosh for going out and getting that story. It's an incredible resource for families right here in our community. And to learn more about the interactive play table and other programs with the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, you can visit their website at wblib.org to learn more information and to stop by the library and give that table a spin for yourself. Things are continuing to move on here in the community, but of course we're also looking at national news with some big stories, one of which, of course, being the wildfires that are currently taking place in Los Angeles. Wildfires have scorched tens of thousands of acres across Los Angeles, Ventura, and San Bernardino counties, leaving 25 people dead and thousands of homes and businesses destroyed. And it's very disheartening to see all of that destruction. And we have someone joining us right now with connections here in the four communities who's currently living out in Los Angeles. Mike Capera joining us right now on The Splash. Mike, great to see you.
Good to see you, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you with us. Now, you have connections here because we've actually had your wife, Rachel Capera, who is an artist and a Sylvan Lake native, on our show in the past. So you have ties to this community, but you are currently out in Los Angeles and you have seen these wildfires firsthand. Describe what the environment was like the night before these wildfires began.
It was pretty crazy. The winds were just insane. I drove my son to a soccer practice that night, And like driving down the freeway, it was just, there was debris blowing everywhere. It's crazy, but multiple trees had fallen over. I've never seen anything like it before. I dropped my kid off at soccer practice, and I went to a grocery store to run some errands, and I got a call saying that the facility where they were practicing had lost power, so had to go back. So it was just craziness. And at that point, no one really knew of how bad the fires were going to be, because it was just like crazy wind, But you could already tell that the winds were creating tons of damage with the fallen trees, power lines, never seen anything like it.
I know. It's just one of those things where you're having a typical day, a normal day, everything's fine, and things can change that quickly, and suddenly everything is different. So I can only imagine what you had to see firsthand. And these fires have been going on for a while now, but they are being contained. What can you say about being a resident of Los Angeles at the height of these wildfires?
Well, I think the height was Wednesday, January 8th. We woke up, that was the morning after my son had soccer practice. Woke up and like around 7 a.m. and it felt like it was still the middle of the night because the sky was just so dark. I was a little, unnerved by it. And I looked out the window and I was like, what the heck? You could see like where the smoke ended, like far in the distance. I could see actual blue sky. But then the entire sky above us was just dark, reddish black. Kids got up. We started getting ready to go to school. But at one point, my wife said, yeah, I don't feel comfortable sending them to school today. Just because you walk outside and it smells like a campfire. And so we decided to keep them home from school. And maybe about an hour into the school day, LAUSD announced that schools were closing anyways. So if you did bring your kids to school, you had to come and get them. And we kind of just hunkered down that entire day. For us, it was really bad, as I imagine for other people too. We lost Wi-Fi. We were lucky we actually had power. A lot of houses around us lost power, but it was scary for me because we didn't have Wi-Fi. My cell service where we live isn't that great. So I didn't know if I was even going to be notified if we had to evacuate, or I didn't know how that would work if I didn't have cell service. So it was pretty scary. Our house was never in immediate danger, but, like everyone else in LA, we felt the effects of the smoke and ash.
Well, it's great that you and your family are safe, first and foremost. That is most important, and it's great that things didn't get worse for you guys. But what steps were you guys taking to prepare yourself for the possibility of evacuation or worsening conditions?
Well, we actually decided to leave that day around 4. Because of the unknowns. We didn't know what the air quality was going to be like. We didn't know if we'd have to be inside, if school was going to be canceled. So we packed all of our important documents, like passports, birth certificates, all that stuff. We packed it all up and we drove. My wife, Rachel, her aunt lives about 7 hours north of here near Lake Tahoe. So we're lucky we had a place to go to. But we were able to drive up there and kind of hunker down there until the air quality got better. But yeah, it really taught us that we need to have stuff ready to go. Have a go bag. I think that's what they're calling it. If you do have to evacuate for any reason.
That's right. Danger can come at any time, any place, any day of the week, and you always have to be prepared for it. For those just joining us right now on The Splash, we have Mike Copera, who is a Los Angeles resident with connections here to Michigan, talking about his experience in witnessing the Los Angeles wildfires firsthand. Now, Mike, as somebody with roots in Michigan, how do you compare the climate and weather-related challenges that you experienced in Michigan and you're now experiencing in California?
That's funny because my parents still live in Michigan. They live in Boyne City. I grew up in Troy and spend a lot of time over the summers in Sylvan Lake, where Rachel's dad lives. And growing up there, the primary weather-related emergencies, I believe, were tornadoes and like winter blizzards. And I think that, growing up, you knew what to do. When you heard the tornado warning or the sirens, or your parents told you, there's a tornado coming, you go down to the basement, right? You go down and you have a place, you have something to do. Or if there's a blizzard, for me, blizzards were scariest when we were actually on the roads. I remember driving with my dad up I-75 once, and we couldn't see more than like 10 feet in front of us. And it's like, at that point, you kind of just have to like trust that you can see the taillights of the person in front of you or the lines on the road. But yeah, I think what I learned from Michigan weather-related emergencies that can apply to LA-related emergencies is to know what to do beforehand. For tornadoes, you have a place to go. For wildfires, you need to just have a to-go bag and have a place to go that's many, many miles away, I guess, not your basement.
That's absolutely right. Make sure you have those precautions in place. And how do you think that this experience and what you've seen changes your perspective on environmental and disaster preparedness?
I think it's just really apparent that there's going to be a lot more crazy events like this that we have to be ready for. A few days before the fires, I was seeing all of the crazy blizzards that are affecting a lot of the other parts of the United States, including my parents in Boyne City. They got like 2 feet of snow dumped on them in the past week. There's just going to be a lot more extremes, and we have to just accept that and be ready for it. And yeah, I think something that my family has discussed and we're continuing to figure out is, where do we meet if we're separated? If my wife is teaching at her school in downtown LA and I'm at home and the kids are at school and, we can't contact each other for one reason or another, where do we meet up? That's, together when disaster occurs. I think that's an important thing to talk about with your family members if you haven't yet. Even though it might be scary to have that conversation, I think it's a good thing to have in your mind, if something like that ever happened.
That's right. It's certainly not the conversation you want to have, but they're necessary conversations if you want to have these plans in place. Now, Mike, being out there in LA and seeing everything firsthand, what have you also seen from the local communities out there in terms of showing their support and leaning upon each other during these wildfires?
It's been really reassuring. As tragic and heartbreaking as it is to see all of the loss and just the struggles that people must be going through, I think the communities have come together and are coming together. I've been hit up with at least like a half a dozen GoFundMe campaigns trying to raise money for families who lost their homes. There's something specific in my community. They're organizing I think they're calling it like a free shopping day or something where you can come. This is tomorrow, actually. You come and you bring clothes and you bring essentials like baby items that you can donate, and they'll all be in one location. And anyone who's experienced hardship or loss can come and just have at it and take whatever they need. And it's really that's encouraging. The community gets behind one another.
Love to hear about all of that encouragement. Mike Capera joining us right now on The Splash Live, Los Angeles native with ties to Sylvan Lake, talking about his experience in witnessing the Los Angeles wildfires firsthand. I got a couple more questions for you, Mike, before we let you go. From your perspective, what measures should be taken to properly mitigate the frequency and the severity of these California wildfires?
I'm not a fire or policy expert, but I think that, kind of the no-brainer would be that you need to give enough funding to fire departments. I think that I don't know what the funding situation is like in LA or other parts of California, but you need to make sure you have enough firefighters. You need to make sure you have adequate resources for them. And then as far as like what people can do on their own, I think brush clearing, making sure you don't have like debris around your house. The winds are something you can't really control. You can't. And that was what clearly drove these fires. You can't control the wind, but you can control what can burn to a certain extent. So I think just, monitoring, burnable areas more effectively and keeping that fire department well-staffed and well-funded is all you can do.
Very wise advice to keep in mind. Last question for you, Mike. As we do try to relate everything back to here in Michigan and here in West Bloomfield, how can West Bloomfield communities educate residents about wildfire prevention and preparedness, even if it is a lot less common here as it is in California?
That's a good question. I think you just have to pay attention and follow what's happening in LA and follow what's happening elsewhere with regard to the wildfires. And I do think that the same rules apply anywhere. Houses burn down everywhere, no matter if you're in Michigan or California. And I think it's just having an awareness of cleaning up your place, making sure that if you have dead leaves, dead branches around, clean them up, and don't leave the stove on.
Simple little tips like that can help make a big difference. Mike, thank you so much for your time today here on The Splash, and please, for you and your family, please stay safe out there.
Thank you, Jake. Thanks for having me.
It's a scary thing to be seeing these fires firsthand, and we really appreciate Mike coming on the show to talk about what he's seen and what his family's seen. And it's just really, really great that him and his family are safe right now. And it's important that everyone watching this stays safe as well. We're going to take a quick break and jump into some more stories right here on The Splash Live right after this. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations. That's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be one in a million.
What people are watching in Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. The days are counting down to the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force 2025 Black Expo. The Black Expo is an annual celebration of Black History Month featuring booths, demos, and displays to highlight Black-owned businesses, careers, and community resources. And that event is scheduled for Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 from 1 to 4 p.m. And here to tell us more about this year's expo, we have a member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, Denise Moore, joining us right now on The Splash Live. Denise, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Love to have you with us. Love to be hearing about this upcoming event right here in West Bloomfield. And I want to get into this a little bit. What inspired the creation of the Black Expo, and how have you seen it evolve over the years?
It actually started, and I'm not a founding member. I think Sherry Ann Winter, along with now current trustee Vincent Kirkwood, were some of the founders of it. So we all miss Sherry Ann. Just wanted to put that out there so very much. This was like her baby. So they wanted to bring together, a sense of community around entrepreneurs and small businesses within the West Bloomfield area. So that's kind of like how it started, and evolving every year. Every year it's getting bigger and better.
That's great. And you're absolutely right. It is great to see all the work that Sherry Ann has done to help make this event what it is. And obviously, absolutely, may she rest in peace. And how does the Black Expo contribute to fostering diversity and inclusion right here in West Bloomfield?
Well, you know what? I think the main vision of the Diversity Task Force is just that, bringing together a diverse group of people from all races, religions, and ethnicities and cultures to come together for the common good of the community. And so with that being, the highlight for Black Expo, now, featuring Black businesses within the community to let them know that we're here, whether it's small, in-home, or a brick and mortar, that we're here to serve with quality and excellence.
That's right. That's all you could ask for. And that is exactly what these businesses are going to provide. And could you share some examples of some vendors and some organizations that we might be seeing at this year's event?
Absolutely. And like I said, we're growing so well. So I think this year we have over 70 vendors ranging from jewelry, arts and crafts, music, and most importantly, food. So yeah, got a number of vendors coming out to support. And so we're looking for the community to come out and support us as well on February 22nd.
And this all sounds amazing. Can't wait to see how it all turns out. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, we have Denise Moore from the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force joining us right now on the Splash Live to talk about the upcoming 2025 Black Expo that will be taking place in February. And the Diversity Task Force works year-round to promote and celebrate cultural, ethnic, and religious diversity in the community. What are some ways that they help to do that?
That's a very good question, because it's not just about one and done. It's about the sense of culture and religions and ethnicities across the board. So we may have like Meet Your Neighbor, we'll present that, and that brings out, all different types of families from all different types of backgrounds. And then we have Juneteenth, that'll be coming up in June. So different opportunities for neighbors to get together from all walks of life within the West Bloomfield community. We're so very honored to put these things on every year so we can get to know each other, learn from each other, and grow our community with that unity. I think that's the biggest thing, is bringing together like-minded people, families across the West Bloomfield area, the greater West Bloomfield area as well, and to just have that unity, that sense of family and belonging. And so that's very important to the Diversity Task Force. And so we're just proud to be able to do something like this on an annual basis and year-round.
And yeah, I've had the chance to attend some of those events like Juneteenth and the Meet Your Neighbors event, like you mentioned, and you absolutely see all this camaraderie and these connections start to form, and it's always so, so great to see. And how can West Bloomfield residents get involved with the diversity task force if they want to become a part of the team themselves?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. It's under West Bloomfield Park. So you would go under, I think it's wbparks.org. And we're always looking for sweet, loving families to come and join us from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, because that's the whole point, is to bring our Chaldean community, our Asian community, our Black community, whatever ethnicity or nationality you are. We want us to you come out and join the force and just have a little fun, get to know each other, and bring wonderful programs through for the community at large. So yeah, wbparks.org.
Denise, I love hearing about your passion for something like this. It's radiating through the screen. And I want to thank you so much for your time here on The Splash. One more quick question before we let you go. What are some long-term hopes for the Black Expo and the Diversity Task Force's efforts right here in the West Bloomfield community?
Wonderful question again, because our goal is to obviously grow it. I mean, it started, I think they had like less than 10 vendors with the inception. And now we're like over 70, I want to say 75 vendors this year. So definitely to grow it, to bring different ethnicities and cultures, and just to make a rich environment for us and our children to come up in a very open and diverse, culturally open opportunity to just become unified and to be kind to each other. And I mean, that's what it takes. That's why we're here, to bring forth that diversity and to have the opportunity for us to just grow together as a community.
That's exactly right. Denise, thank you so much for your time today here on The
you.
Splash Live.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Love to have you with us and love to be hearing about this incredible event. The 2025 Black Expo will be taking place on February 22nd. And this weekend, of course, we're still talking about United We Walk. This Sunday, January 19th, join the West Bloomfield community for the annual United We Walk event at 2 p.m. Now, due to cold and icy conditions, the march will be held indoors at the West Bloomfield Middle School. And this year's theme, as we mentioned before, continuing the dream, building bridges of unity. And just recently, Kevin McIntosh had the chance to speak with the United We Walk's co-chairs, Sonia James and Jonathan Borsche, to hear their thoughts on putting this event together.
With us right here live on The Splash from United We Walk, we have co-chairs Sonia James and Jonathan Borsche. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us, Kevin.
Yes, so I want to immediately get into it, just pretty much like I just explained. We want to ask, what is United We Walk? Essentially starting off with you, Sonia, what is United We Walk as an organization or an event?
Well, United We Walk as an organization started years ago. And honestly, Jonathan, I think, has been co-chair for a number of years, along with our former co-chair, Jennifer Graham. Jonathan, how long were you co-chair?
Oh, I'd say probably about 3 or 4 years now.
Great. And he probably has more experience with, from the co-chair's perspective. So I'm going to let Jonathan answer that first, and then I'll chime in. Is that okay, Jonathan?
That's great. So,
okay, great.
I think the biggest thing is, it's part of the school district, getting the students involved, and then that way we get the parents and the rest of the community involved as well in terms of furthering Dr. King's legacy. I'd say that's the biggest thing with our organization. And then it started with the walk that had been around the high school, and then we've just sort of added other activities and events with it.
Okay.
Great. And one of the big things and the purpose behind United We Walk is a time for the community to come together and to celebrate the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And as a school community, and not just the school community, as a West Bloomfield community, incorporating the schools and citizens of West Bloomfield, it's time for us to reflect, to celebrate, and to also think about how his work continues and what do we do as a community to acknowledge and honor his legacy.
There you go. I love that. I love that. So
Yes.
let's dive a little bit more into it. A little bit more. Jonathan, going back to you, how has the United We Walk evolved to meet the changing needs and values of the greater West Bloomfield community, especially since being established in 1995 BC before Corona?
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
So, originally it was more of the walk and a program. So people were not necessarily active participants. We've added service projects that are not only on that day, but also year round to make especially the students active participants in furthering Dr. King's legacy. So I'd say that's probably the biggest change since the beginning.
Okay.
Because that day is a focus on a day of service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a big part of Dr. King's legacy, that service piece. And it has evolved into those community service projects and opportunities for our students, our families, and the community to be a part of those different projects that we have going on for United We Walk.
Perfect, perfect. And just to reset the show again, with us right here live on the Splash from United We Walk, we have co-chairs Sonia James and Jonathan Warshay talking about the event, the details of it, and what we can expect. Now, Sonia, going back to you, there's a theme for the 2025 event, United We Walk, continuing the dream, building bridges of unity. Seems very, very impactful. With that being said, how do you feel like this thing resonates or will resonate with both the challenges and the opportunities faced by the greater West Bloomfield community?
One of the big things about West Bloomfield as a community, we truly are a community because as Executive Director of Educational Equity for the district, I'm also part of different organizations or different groups. And one of the things with regards to United We Walk, and I think about the work that the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreations are doing with their, their diversity task force, right? Mm-hmm. The work that that's being done in different segments of the community, it helps bridge us together as a community. It recognizes that we as a West Bloomfield community, we are diverse. It recognizes that we as a West Bloomfield community have people from different walks of life, be it ethnically, be it socioeconomic, and then as a community, how we come together, united. Yeah. And I think about like Juneteenth, how the community came together for that. I think about just the work that is put into recognizing and honoring each and every individual in West Bloomfield, in each and every religion, each and every background. So it doesn't matter what walk of life that you come from. When you come to West Bloomfield, you will see people of diverse backgrounds and different groups. And you will see a coming together of that and a seeking to understand who we are. So that theme in terms of building bridges of unity is something I think that we are doing a pretty good job of as a community. Are we perfect? No. Is it a work in progress? It is. Because on that day, if you look at who's a part of our membership, a part of our committee, it is a diverse group of different people from different walks of life that are helping put together the United We Walk. Yeah. So it's not just Jonathan and I. Right. It's Jonathan, it's I, it's other community members, it's social organizations, it's our fraternities, our sororities. It is everyone coming together on this day to build that bridge because we know that there is a lot of work to do, and we know that there are things that we have accomplished, and there's so much more. And when I look at all the opportunities and possibilities, it's us continuing to come together to do this work hand in hand.
Perfect, perfect. And I love how you use the example of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force and everything that they're doing within the community to kind of tie it together and say that that's an example of us building bridges of unity right here within the community. So thank you for that response and that context also, Sonia. Jonathan, with you, I want to kind of incorporate or talk about the fact that there are student co-chairs of United We Walk. With that being said, how do you incorporate the voices and the leadership of the students in planning and executing this event?
So the student co-chairs are full members of the committee, so they have as much voice as any of the adults, and they do take the lead with several of the activities and run with it. I've always been inspired about how really involved that they want to get, how meaningful it is to them. Excuse me. So they're really a vital part of our committee, and they're really an inspiration to us all.
And with that being said, just adding on to that, Jonathan, what role do you see service projects and children's activities playing in fostering a sense of unity and engagement during this specific event?
So we have so the student volunteers as well as adult volunteers work with the children on whether it's reading to them or on the service projects themselves. So everyone is together, working together for really a common cause that's service to others. And I think that just sort of builds a wonderful spirit around the entire event.
I would like to say so myself. Anytime we talk to business leaders, owners, authorities within Greater West Bloomfield, more than likely, if they're doing something, they have other organizations, other people involved, and we love to see that people coming together to accomplish great things for our community. With that being said, joining us right here live on The Splash, United We Walk co-chair members Sonia James and Jonathan Warshay talking about the United We Walk 2025 event coming up. Now, just a few more questions before I let you go. Sonia, with you, in what ways do you see United We Walk extending Dr. King's dream beyond the event itself into everyday life in West Bloomfield?
You know, that's where I talk about those possibilities, those opportunities, with regards to not just it being an event for January 19th, but thinking about how as a community that we continue to live out the life and the legacy in our works and our deeds and in our actions. Again, it's those different organizations within West Bloomfield, as well as working with United We Walk, to really think about what does it look like every day of the year, right? And it's some of the continuous event that we do as a community. Like I mentioned, Juneteenth, that's one of the events. There's several different events that happen throughout the year that also encompasses that life and the legacy. I want to go back to something that you asked Jonathan about with regards to the student co-chairs. I'll be meeting with them later on today, but one of the things that like the student co-chairs will be doing is on January 9th and 10th, they are organizing for our student co-chairs, are organizing for high school students to go down to the elementary buildings to read to the elementary students.
Oh, okay.
And again, it's taking it a step deeper in terms of understanding the purpose and the why behind we celebrate United We Walk and the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights activists that have contributed to his dream, his life, and the fulfillment of that, and how we have gotten to where we are now, and how do we as a school community live out those important values, right? And in terms of peace, in terms of acceptance and inclusivity of others, and all of those things. So they are working to build that with regards to a busload of students going to a building at a time and reading to the entire building at the same time. So every student, say right now I'm sitting at Scotch Elementary, every student on January 9th will hear the same story read by a high school student at the same time. So building wide, they're all going to be engaged in that story.
Nice.
And the same will happen at Gretschko, the same will happen at Doherty, the same will happen at Chico. And this is student led. And then we have Voice of Equality. And that's a student-led group from the high school as well that will go in and engage later on after United We Walk, and you talk about that extension, and they will go in and work with different projects with the students. So again, our student leadership also being actively involved in this and them leading the charge. Sometimes, as adults, we have to move out of their way, right? And let the students lead. And this is a way that we let the students lead and we move out of their way. And again, this is how we are expanding, the reach and taking it a little deeper.
Lots of great things to look forward to with the United We Walk event that's taking place this weekend. Big thank you to Sonia and Jonathan for stopping by. But that is going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. I want to say a big thank you to all of our guests and for Kevin McIntosh and Tyler Keefe. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.